We are back. We are back with another review. This time being the match between Sareee and Syuri from New Japan, King of Pro Wrestling 2025 for the IWGP Women's Championship. A match that was announced on 4 days' notice following Saree's defense against Alex Windsor in Ring of Honor that officially aired. Um, yeah, this is the review. I'm your host, as always, Scott E., and you're getting my full, authentic thoughts with the match coming to an end just moments ago. And for what it's worth, um, there is there is an emotional side to such a match, such a moment, such a reign. Um, Coming to an end. I don't hide my fandom for someone like Sareee, and I never will, because it's someone who I highly respect and highly appreciate, and has given me some of my favorite moments as a content creator over these last number of months. I've gotten the chance to interview her so many times. It's truly been a whirlwind, and to see her win this championship, win the IWGP Women's Championship, was as special a moment as any, because I go back to that first interview that I had with Sareee back in 2023. I brought up the IWGP Women's Championship and the idea of it, and she expressed her interest in that belt, knowing her connection and her appreciation and her respect for Antonio Inoki and what those letters IWGP stand for and have always stood for. I think it was always so important to watch her journey of how she got there. And you have to remember, throughout this entire aspect or this entire run, uh she's been a freelancer. This was a run that is unlike any other. It's not repeatable. Um, to become such an undeniable presence that, the biggest Joshi company and the biggest company in Japan is featuring you is no small feat. It's truly one of a kind. It's truly one of one. It's truly something to absolutely adore and absolutely love. So much of this review is we'll talk about the match, we'll talk about everything, but a lot of it's gonna be just an appreciation for Sareee getting this moment and how it all went, and ultimately it ending while being feeling rushed in many ways on the surface, still being such a meaningful match and a meaningful statement for her, while also giving my respect to Syuri as well, someone who has been an absolute backbone of stardom for the past 4 to 5 years. This is someone in Syuri who is a longtime veteran who signed a contract with Stardom and has seen herself rise to a level that maybe she never even expected when she signed that contract. And it would be wrong of me not to give Syuri the respect, because there are 2 sides of this, and on one side, I am absolutely devastated that Saree's reign had to end as it did, because unlike Syuri, I didn't see her getting this belt back. But on the other side, it does come to Syuri, and you think of all that she's done for this company, and, she was the one to defeat Mayu Iwatani for the IWGP Women's Championship, but then lost it just a month later, and I remember the outcry. I remember the, sadness of many fans and many Syuri fans, and I understood that, because in many ways, Syuri didn't deserve to, uh, lose so quickly, but there's a lot to talk about here. There's a lot to discuss here. There's a lot to dissect here. A lot of this is just natural thoughts and feelings and things that come with it. But let's talk about the match. Let's get into the match, and then we'll talk about more of that here in a second. So, of course, the match took place, like I said, at King of Pro Wrestling 2025 Ryogoku Sumo Hall opening match for the show, New Japan Pro Wrestling. I think so many times when I watch Sareee and when I watch Syuri, I'm left amazed. I'm left absolutely amazed at how truly incredible these two wrestlers are. And so much of the time, I ask myself, are there really much better than this? You know, we watched them have their 2 matches earlier this year. The first one being at SareeeISM in Shinjuku Face. The second one being at Stardom: The Conversion, and now the third one being at Ryogoku in New Japan Pro Wrestling. To watch how this trilogy has gone, it's truly incredible, and to see them create a rivalry that I think a lot of people have loved this year. When you talk to casual fans, maybe fans that aren't even Joshi fans, so many of them talk about that SareeeISM match, talk about the conversion match as their favorite women's or Joshi matches of the year at the very least. That's because of how great they are. That's because of how incredible they are. Um, and it goes back to what Sareee has been able to do as a freelancer, right? She has paved a path, paved a way that few, if any, can, could, should. You know, winning the Tokyo Sports MVP last year and helping lead Marigold in being their first world champion, and then dropping the belt earlier this year, facing Mako Satomura and losing to her, dropping the Beyond the Sea championship, and putting all of her cards on the table and saying, I am going to go and win that IWGP Women's Championship because that is a belt I set my sights on in 2023. The connection I have to Mr. Antonio Inoki, the connection I have to that belt, I must win it. I must win it. And she made sure to do that, but she did so in a way that created a story, created a rivalry between her and a wrestler in Syuri who up until that match with Sareee hadn't done a lot in a very long time. I think that's kind of forgotten in so much of this is Syuri was kind of just out of the picture for a lot of last year and the beginning of this year. It wasn't until these two faced off, it was announced that the Sareee is the main event. The second one of the year was going to be these two colliding. Chapter 7, and the match went 30 minutes. It was absolutely incredible, and it opened the door for the next step. Both of them were vying to win the IWGP Women's Championship. It's a match that Syuri came up short for. It's a match that Sareee came up short for. Both of them having challenged Mayu Iwatani in her incredible reign, and they both wanted to get back to the top. They wanted to both get back to the top and being the one to dethrone Mayu. That was Saree's goal. She wanted so badly to beat Mayu Iwatani for it, but Syuri instead was the one to beat her to it. She did it at All Star Grand Queendom, the biggest show in Stardom history, a match that I will never forget. And despite the disappointment, Sareee kept her focus forward, and that brings us to Stardom's Conversion match number 2. Syuri has one defense under her belt, but had only had the title for about a month or two, and Sareee wins the belt, and it puts us down this wave of excitement and anticipation, and in many ways greatness for what can be. Sareee winning this title put her in the 5-star Grand Prix and created a story with Hate that was so exciting and so intense that it felt like instant money, printing money. And for whatever reason, we have gone away from that. Maybe we'll go back to it now that she's lost this belt. But it was the talk of Joshi, Sareee being booed by the Stardom crowds, but playing this incredible heel that was just sensational in so many ways. And it was all because of her wanting this championship. She was willing to do anything. She was willing to play any role and take it. And she has the defense against Konami. It's a strong defense. She has the great defense against Suzuki, and from there it instantly becomes Syuri again. And that is a case of Sareee not getting to have the reign that I'm sure she wanted to have. I'm sure she wanted another month, 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, just a few more defenses to make this a reign truly hers. And I don't want to say it wasn't memorable because for me it was. It's a freelancer storming into stardom, winning a championship that belongs to New Japan Pro Wrestling and doing so in a way that only Sareee can. So that brings us to King of Pro Wrestling 2025, a match announced just 4 days ago, just made official, a shock to everyone, right? We had watched Sareee and Syuri go face to face, and it's like, okay, we'll do Crimson Nightmare, we'll do Stardom Dream Queendom. No, we will do King of Pro Wrestling 2025. And I think they said it well on commentary. The show should be renamed to Queen of Pro Wrestling 2025 because the number one fear when this show was announced or when this match was announced for this show specifically was the past of how Joshi, how Stardom was utilized on these New Japan shows, right? You get 8 minutes or less, and you call it a day, right? Mayu Iwatani and Azumi were on Wrestle Kingdom this year, and they got 8, 9 minutes, and they absolutely tore it down. They didn't have a long match, but they absolutely tore it down. So you kind of walk into this one expecting the same, but I will give it to whoever, plans out the matches. They got the proper time. No, they didn't get the 30 or 32 minutes that they had the first 2 times, but they had the proper time to give the world their match. And the match that Sareee and Syuri can give to the world is a match that not many others can. It is physicality, it is emotional, it is passionate. And did I say it's physical? Because boy, oh boy, is it physical. These two tore it up. These two, I think, took an opportunity. Again, this is a match, this is a moment that Sareee has talked about, wanting to defend the belt in New Japan and the importance to her in that. And for Syuri, someone who, I mean, let's face it, has earned the opportunity to do this. She was the other part of missing out on Wrestle Kingdom in 2023. No, 2024, I mean. On January 4th, when her and Mayu had that incredible match, she was the other part of missing out. She wanted to be in the Tokyo Dome. She wanted to be on that show, and she missed out. And she said it in the lead up to this match. She wanted to put the belt on the line. She wanted to have the ability to defend this championship at Wrestle Kingdom if she wins it because it means a lot to her. So this meant a lot to her. This meant a lot to Sareee, and you could feel it. Yeah, there's some nerves in the early going, whatever. And the crowd, this is a crowd there for New Japan Pro Wrestling. This isn't a crowd that's there for Sareee and Syuri, but they made them be there for them. That's what these two did. They made you believe, or they made you pay attention to what these two are capable of, what these two can do, and that's be the best wrestlers in the damn building any night, no matter who else is in that building. They set the standard, they set the stage, they allowed them to have enough time to do just that. The physicality, the brutal forearms, the personal vibe between the two. Yeah, I could sit here and say, "Oh boy, I wish this match would be on Crimson Nightmare," or just, give them the time to further build this up rather than Shuri's back, let's do it. but at the same time, I'm just happy for both of them, you know? It's a balancing act that you can never really have perfectly. Yes, you want more. Yes, you want you know, I don't want Saree's reign to be instantly ended, but at the same time, I have such great appreciation, such love, and such respect for what this match was, and that was them putting Joshi Wrestling on the forefront in Ryogoku Sumo Hall on a New Japan show that has so many eyes on it. That's special. That's special. That's what they did. The brutality of headbutts, the excitement of kickouts, you know, Sareee hitting 3 Uranagis and Syuri surviving, got the crowd, got the announcers, got everyone. And Shuri's willingness to keep fighting and to keep battling and to eventually win the championship back that she lost, become the first two-time IWGP Women's Champion. It's a very, very special moment. The match, so much of reviewing this match is actually just talking about the outside factors and the result and where we go from here and so much so. But I do sit here and I do say to myself, when it comes to Sareee, when it comes to Syuri, they deserve this moment. They deserve to have this match. And no matter how I may feel about the result, I couldn't be happier for them to do this. In terms of what's next, for Syuri, you hope it's a true great reign, right? Um, you hope that she can defend this belt at, you know, Crimson Nightmare or Stardom Dream Queendom and then the Tokyo Dome. You don't want this to be a reign where she wins it on October 13th and she's waiting until January 4th to defend it for the first time. You don't want the IWGP title to go down the route that it did so many times while Mayu Iwatani held it. You want it to be active. You want it to be present. You want Syuri to reign as a great, fantastic champion that we have seen her do. You know, when Syuri was World of Stardom champion, it was unbelievable. It was incredible. It was special. It was sensational. Let her do that again. She can do that again because what we've seen through this trilogy, what we've seen through this feud is Shuri's top level still remains. There hasn't been a second of stepping back. There hasn't been a second of slowing down. It's just a matter of Stardom didn't have her do anything last year, you know? Now that she's here, now that she's champion again, let her reign as a true champion. Let her reign as the IWGP champion. You can build to a major match between her and Saya Kamatani for both belts, something that I still am stunned that we didn't do with Saya Kamatani and Sareee. And I still, if we never get that match, it's an absolute blunder by Stardom not running that match. But that's something you can build to. There's so much to build to with Syuri as champion. There's so much potential excitement with Syuri as champion now that she has the chance to reign. On the other hand, there is the Sareee aspect that I will not overlook because that's just not in my nature. I tweeted this, but I'll just kind of summarize once more. I said at the beginning of the show too, this is a championship that she set her sights on when she came back to Japan. I asked her about it. She said, I want the belt. Just, you know, not yet. I gotta build myself. I gotta make myself ready for that spot. And in 2024, you know, she gets her first opportunity. She faces Mayu Iwatani. She comes up short and she's like, okay, I didn't get the belt this time, but I will come back around. I will make that championship mine. Rebuilds. First time Marigold World Champion, Beyond the Sea champion at the same time, becomes Tokyo Sports MVP, the first woman since Tsukasa Fujimoto, I believe, 2018 to win that award, not in Stardom, not part of Stardom. A true accomplishment, a true incredible accomplishment, one that only Sareee can claim, and she became undeniable like she promised. Okay, I failed the first time, come back around, and I'm going to win this championship as a freelancer, do something unprecedented. That is what she's done time and time and time again. And as ahead of her 15th anniversary next year, ahead of all that, she wins the belt, has her moment, has her reign. Does the reign go as she wanted? Probably not. Probably isn't exact, but at the same time, it happened. At the same time, the title win happened. She created stories, she created excitement with said championship, and in the end, her return to Japan started in Shinjuku Face against Chihiro Hashimoto in 2023, and her latest step, the end of her IWGP Women's Title reign, ends in Ryogoku Sumo Hall in front of a New Japan Pro Wrestling crowd. That's as great as it gets. That is the way you look at it. That's the way you have appreciation for it. That's the way I have appreciation for it. I hope whatever's next for Sareee is exciting as every step of the way has been since she's returned to Japan. I'm sure it will be. And I'm excited to see what's next for her now that this chapter is over. On to the next for her, on to the next for Syuri. I hope Syuri reigns in full absolute dominance. It's time. It's long overdue that Syuri gets a respectful big time reign, I think, from Stardom. She had that incredible World of Stardom Championship reign. Yes, the IWGP title reign was just to ultimately get the belt off of Mayu to put it on Sareee. Could have just skipped that step and had Syuri come around in the end and win it. But we created a trilogy, we created a rivalry out of it, we created magic out of it. And in front of how many ever are at Ryogoku today, they showed you why Joshi wrestling is the best wrestling in the world. No, this isn't going to win match of the year like I think their other two are in the contest to do. Um, but it's also exactly what you could ask for from the opening match on a show that's so highly talked about for everything going on with New Japan, I guess, and so on. So yeah, this was my review. This was mostly just a ramble and an emotional gauge for both of them, obviously, and hopefully you enjoyed it. Hopefully you enjoyed this review and the physicality that comes with this match, the forearms and the near falls and the ability to push it and have their match. Again, I can't stress enough how special that was to me, despite all my complaints about the rushing of this and the 4-day notice and all that. They got to have their match the best to their ability in the New Japan Pro Wrestling ring on that cerulean blue canvas. That's really cool. That's really special. And as I saw the emotion for both of them when the match was over, they can hug and have their moment. At the end of the day, that's what this is all about, is pushing Joshi forward, pushing forward the incredible sport that is pro wrestling as well, but specifically Joshi wrestling. And that's what they accomplish here. So that's it for me. That's your instant reaction review. That is how I'm feeling following Saree's loss of the IWGP Women's Championship to Syuri. Congratulations to Syuri. If there was anyone that should be the next champion, no one deserves it more than her. I'm excited to see what she does. I'm excited to see what's next for Sareee. As always, I'm going to cover everything that both of these two do moving forward right here in the YouTube channel. So make sure you subscribe if you haven't already. Make sure you press the button down low. Make sure you press a like. That helps us a lot as well. I have a video coming out after this. It was a show review for the Marigold Corkin. You're going to hear me a few times say, I don't know when I'm going to review this Sareee Syuri match. Well, I didn't know I was going to post this immediately. I didn't know I was going to record this immediately after seeing it's 4 a.m. and I'm recording this, but that's the way I go sometimes. I don't sleep. I just kind of go, 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 go. So despite reviewing the Marigold Corkin at like 1 a.m. or 2 a.m., I should say, here I am reviewing this Sareee versus Syuri IWGP Women's Championship, Ryogoku Sumo Hall, New Japan Pro Wrestling presents King of Pro Wrestling 2025. An awesome, awesome, awesome match, by the way. A must go out of your way to see it. Go enjoy Joshi on such a unique stage. Go enjoy what Sareee and Syuri worked so hard to make happen. Go enjoy every bit of it. They deserve it. They deserve all the respect in the world. and hopefully whatever's next for both of them, we get to enjoy every bit of it. So thank you everyone for listening. Thank you everyone for checking out this video. Stay tuned for later for the show review of the Margot Corkin if you're interested. And then, of course, Future of Joshi. We kick that off later this week as well. So thank you, everyone. And until next time, so long. See you later.